Hey folks, before we dive into today's story, don't forget to follow S News so you can catch this and all our future videos.
Yeah, and if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button and leave us a comment. It really helps us out, you know?
Behind the glamour of global politics, a knife could be hidden in every handshake. Once again, Donald Trump has left the world holding its breath. He's no longer just a retired politician. He's staging a calculated return to power, making every move like a strategist.
He praises smart opponents and coldly critiques victims. But none of this is random. It's a clear warning to the powers that run today's world.
As major players like Russia, China, NATO, and the United States move on the global stage, even a single word from Trump can tip the balance. His seemingly surprising statements carry a harsh message. This game is brutal, and the battlefield has no space for the weak or for dreamers of peace and easy solutions. In today's episode, we break down the deeper meanings behind every word Trump says and analyze the chessboard he's setting up, where a single sentence can spark a crisis and one look can shift global dynamics. Let's get into it. Trump just flipped the global geopolitical chessboard in the blink of an eye.
In a surprising interview, he unexpectedly praised President Putin, calling him a smart rival and a powerful negotiator. But just minutes later, Trump flipped like a spear in a storm and slammed Putin, saying the suffering he caused made him deeply saddened.
Before anyone could even process that, things started moving fast. The United States announced it was resuming military aid to Ukraine, immediately sending 10 Patriot missiles to the front lines and setting up a new logistics line to support forces in Kosovo. The move was so quick it even left Trump's most loyal supporters confused.
Was this a strategic shift or just classic American distraction tactics? And that was just episode 1.
Meanwhile, in Russia, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi stunned Europe when he said China doesn't want Russia to lose the war in Ukraine, because if that happens, the United States will focus all its power on China.
That slip of the tongue exposed a hidden front. China is no longer neutral. It's now Russia's strategic rearguard inside the Kremlin. Years of pretending to be neutral now look like a smokescreen for deeper hypocrisy.
And now the puzzle pieces are starting to show, from the stunning shift in the White House to the shocking admission in Brussels, 2 acts of the same play. And who drew up this tactical script? Trump has always known how to stir controversy before making any public statement. As soon as he returned to the White House, he redrew the global map of power. No more large-scale military interventions like in the past, but that doesn't mean anyone's off the hook.
Anyone who wants to work with the United States must play by his rules, and anyone who dares to oppose him, be ready for tariffs, sanctions, and massive military aid going to your enemies. No warning.
If you listen, you get military support, high-tech weapons, and lucrative trade deals. If you don't, the door shuts. Fast.
Don't be fooled by Trump's harsh words about Putin. It's not emotional. It's all calculated, part of a deliberate strategy to reshape the global order.
Ukraine isn't the endgame. It's the warm-up. The chaos sparked by US aid left Europe in disarray. And that's when Trump sent a subtle message. I'm not here to be nice, and America isn't here for free.
Right after that, he gave Ukraine more patriots, and then he waited, calmly, like a general who knows when the timing is right, and said softly, he caused a lot of suffering.
Trump's moves are sharp, chilling, never too fast, never too slow, but always timed just right to isolate Russia and force China to show its true colors. China can't hide anymore.
In Europe, Wang Yi's accidental confession revealed what Beijing fears most. We don't want Russia to fail, because then the United States will focus everything on us. That wasn't just a blunder. It was a password, the key that opened the door to Trump's Indo-Pacific strategy.
John Nanhai fears one thing, the war in Ukraine ending, because that means America turns to Asia. Xi Jinping skipped the PIC summit and Trump broke Southeast Asia's supply chain with a single executive order.
Trump is waging a zero-sum war. The weapons aren't bullets. They're political pressure, trade bans, and ruthless negotiations. He doesn't want America to be the world's cop. He wants it to be the boss. Pick your friends, pull your troops, rewrite the deals, all without asking permission. Good luck keeping up.
From NATO to East Asia, everyone's at the table now, and Trump only gives 2 options: Comply or get kicked out of the game.
According to Dong Fu, sending Patriot missiles to Ukraine proves Trump is being irrational, but it's actually just the beginning of Phase 2 of his world order reboot.
His real target isn't Europe or the Middle East, it's Beijing, the heart of the global supply chain. Trump's always viewed America's strategic rivals not just as military threats, but as the brains behind global trade, logistics, and production. And Beijing is the big fish.
Europe, though, doesn't seem too worried. So Trump needs a big enough fire to wake them up. Ukraine becomes the powder keg, not because of NATO or media freedom, but to force NATO to move, to stir up the Indo-Pacific, and pull allies into his new chess game.
At that moment, China's Wang Yi blurted out the same fatal line. We don't want Russia to lose, or America will focus on us. That one mistake was enough. Trump got the message. They're scared of me being free, so I'll be free. That's when the game flipped.
Aid to Ukraine resumed. A global crackdown began. NATO boosted its defense budget. Asian countries had to choose sides. South Korea came under the spotlight after its president started leaning toward Beijing.
Trump bluntly declared, "We shouldn't pay protection money to ungrateful countries. The 25% tariff is coming back. US troops are preparing to pull out of Korea." The next message from Washington is crystal clear. Pick the United States or deal with North Korea alone.
Meanwhile, a British aircraft carrier took position in the Pacific. NATO launched a new plan for the Indo-Pacific region. Trump isn't just playing to win, he's changing the board itself.
As Russia's economy collapses, oil prices fall below $50, and oligarchs start jumping ship, some literally. Rumors swirl around instability in the Kremlin. But Trump doesn't wait for drama. On May 9th, Washington signaled, "If Russia won't negotiate, expect the harshest sanctions yet."
When Trump criticized Putin, many thought it was just for show. But US intelligence officials say it was a deliberate warning shot. Russia's Security Council sounded the alarm instantly. Pro-Russia factions began scrambling. They finally realized this isn't just about Ukraine.
Trump's real target, from day one, is the Indo-Pacific China. His original plan? Lock down Ukraine, end the war fast, and pivot to Asia. But Zelensky didn't collapse. Russia didn't fall. So Trump adapted. Now Moscow has to retreat, freeing up US power for the real showdown. For Beijing, that's a nightmare. Trump won't wait for Ukraine to end. He'll go straight for China's trade, tech supply chains, and all the soft power it's built.
And then, as if to seal the moment, Wang Yi pulled back the curtain. After hours of carefully worded statements, he finally said the quiet part out loud.
China doesn't want Russia to lose, or America will focus on China.
That one sentence destroyed years of carefully crafted neutrality. The consequences hit immediately. Cancelled summits, dropped business meetings, official condemnations of Beijing.
Europe's message is clear now. We see you. China's mask is off.
And Trump? He's already prepping for the next round. When Wang Yi returned to China, the Chinese Foreign Ministry fell back on its usual opening line.
We're not directly involved in the Ukraine issue.
But this time, no one bought it. Party spokesperson Mao Ning avoided answering whether Wang Yi's statements were official, and that silence spoke volumes.
Did Wang slip up? No. It was a strategic strike, a sign that there's a quiet power shift happening inside Beijing.
Wang Yi didn't cause destruction. He paved the way for a new power structure. But at what cost? Europe's angry, Moscow's skeptical, and China, caught between two fronts, is sliding into isolation.
What can't be ignored is the silent verdict China and Russia gave during the World Bank Summit in Brazil. Once seen as a financial weapon against the US dollar, the summit has become an empty shell.
Instead of making any strong statement or participating actively, China's top leadership vanished from the spotlight. No policy direction, no leadership presence. While the summit was happening, Xi Jinping was spotted planting trees and laying flowers quietly among local officials. No international press, no big agenda, just standing silently in the mist.
A photo op without weight, a leader fading from the world stage.
Meanwhile, Trump needed only a few lines on social media to launch a deadly blow.
Anyone who touches the US dollar, I'll hit them with a 100% tariff.
That was enough to break up the Pacific alliance. India pulled out, Brazil went quiet, Russia softened its tone, Saudi Arabia said nothing, and China quietly stepped out of center stage.
The dream of a global alternative to the dollar? Now just a broken fantasy.
In the high-stakes geopolitical chess game of 2025, China has silently withdrawn from its confrontation strategy with the US. No announcement, no debate, just a cold retreat in the Western fog.
Beijing knows this isn't the time to pick a fight with the dollar. China still needs international payment systems, energy imports, and it has to keep the door open for foreign investors.
If Xi had shown up at the BRICS summit in Brazil, it would have been seen as a financial declaration of war on the US.
So instead he sent Premier Li Qiang in his place, a symbolic move to keep protocol intact, while avoiding global attention and pressure on Beijing's inner circle.
China's domestic media kept spinning it.
He's celebrating tree planting, honoring memorials, focusing on local care.
But to the rest of the world, this looked like a bitter admission. China was stepping back from its anti-dollar agenda, backing away from its ambition to lead the global south, giving up its dream of a new financial world order.
At the Marco Polo Bridge Memorial, once a major symbol of Chinese national pride, Xi Jinping didn't show.
Instead, his right-hand man Tai Chi gave the speech. Familiar names like Wang Yi, Zhang Yuxia, and Wang Xiaohong were all there. Military bands played the anthem, but one key figure was missing, the one who used to symbolize national strength.
The quiet image said it all. On one side, a global stage chasing headlines. On the other, Xi laying flowers in the cold grey mist with a handful of local officials. No speech, no explanation.
But everyone in China knows what it means. Power is shifting. While Beijing was still processing the symbolism, Trump made his move. And this time it wasn't a threat. It was a direct hit.
In early July, he sent a blunt message. I'm going to cut off the loophole that lets China cheat the trade system.
And by May 8th, sanctions expanded to over a dozen countries from South Korea, Japan, Thailand, Laos, Malaysia, and Indonesia to Tunisia, Kazakhstan, Libya, South Africa. Nearly every link in China's logistical chain were all hit.
This wasn't just a blockade. It was a tax wall, tightening slowly around Beijing. No need for aircraft carriers, no need for a UN vote. Just one post on social media, and the entire Southeast Asian supply chain shook.
For years, China used the trick of shipping raw goods through a third country, relabeling them and exporting them to the US to dodge tariffs. Trump just said, enough. A new tariff rate, 20% on Chinese goods, up to 40% if fraud is detected via third-party routing.
The message couldn't be clearer. Whether you're a friend or a rival, follow the rules or pay.
The fallout? East Asia's economic map is shifting fast. Countries that once relied on transshipment are now in the crosshairs. Foreign investors are forced to choose, stick with China and sink, or pivot to India or back to the US. No bombs are needed. Just one tax decree can do what war never could. This isn't a trade war anymore. It's a full-blown geopolitical economic war. No tanks, no missiles, but the consequences are deeper than any sanctions before.
China tried to play legal grey zones between the EU and Southeast Asia using local currency deals. Trump saw right through it. He used the war in Ukraine to bait Wang Yi into exposing China's stance. Then he moved to cut off China's global finance networks, especially plans to push the yuan in Latin America and Africa.
Every time China tried to step out of the US shadow, Trump shut it down. Push the yuan, he closes Latin American financial doors. Expand into Africa, he blacklists South Africa. Think you've escaped the US? 2024's trade data says otherwise. You haven't. A massive tariff wall was built. Countries helping China? Trump warned them, you'll be taxed too. No missiles needed. Just a tax order can choke Beijing's exports.
China's response? No threats. Just strategic silence. Xi disappeared from Beijing's global conference stage. He showed up in Shaanxi province, not to challenge Trump, but to keep control. A signal that preserving power now matters more than confrontation.
And Trump? He didn't wait. The first of the month was the deadline. Any country not signing new trade deals would face total sanctions, no exceptions, no second chances, no extensions.
While the world focused on tariffs, another shift was happening quietly. A new alliance, India, South Korea, Japan, and Australia, was forming a mini NATO in the Pacific.
No need for a flashy summit. Every arms deal, radar system, and Navy deployment was part of this hidden strategy. The goal was clear, decentralized supply chains and defense.
To cement this shift, Trump signed a massive bill in July, nicknamed the Big Beautiful Bill. It covers everything from energy to taxes to national defense. It's tough, detailed, and brutally clear in its mission. Restructure global supply chains. Redraw the economic and military map. Use tariffs as the main weapon.
Executive orders from the White House are now the framework holding it all together. The system is built to run like clockwork from 2026 onward. This isn't a time for negotiations. It's a time for strategic pressure, and China has no choice but to face it. Then came May 9th. CNN leaked an audio recording from one of Trump's rallies. But this wasn't your typical campaign speech. It was a geopolitical bombshell.
Trump said, "I told Putin, if you dare attack Ukraine, I'll blow up Moscow."
Putin didn't believe it, but even just 10% doubt was enough.
"I told Xi the same, if you invade Taiwan, I'll flatten Beijing."
Xi didn't believe it either, but again, that 10% doubt was all he needed. No need to launch missiles, no need to send troops, just plant a sliver of fear, and the deterrent is complete. Beijing got the message. This wasn't a bluff.
The result? Ukraine held the line. Russia lost momentum, economic alliances collapsed, Southeast Asia pulled back, China's influence was boxed in without a single bullet fired.
Turns out you don't need a war. Just a 10% chance he means it is enough to paralyze your opponent. China didn't lose in a battle. It lost in its illusion of growing stronger while still being held together by an aging, fragile system. And that system isn't built to handle a cold, calculating strategist like Trump. In the end, the world didn't change because of missiles or tanks, but because of relentless pressure, strategic moves, and the simple power of uncertainty. Sometimes it's not about who has the biggest arsenal. It's about who's willing to redraw the rules, no matter the cost.
The lesson? In this new era, strength isn't just measured on the battlefield, it's measured by who can rewrite the map, and who's left scrambling